Okay, quick apology. My dog Scout, the pit bull, is sleeping right next to me, and she's just a very loud breather. Like, she just kind of wheezes. So if you can hear her, I apologize, but she is so peaceful that I'm not gonna move her. I just finished taking a makeup inventory of obviously my makeup, but also like skincare, hair care, and body lotion. So I'm going to separate this into two videos because I realize like not everyone really cares about like skin, hair, and body stuff. But people, you know, so it's like kind of dividing. Like you either care about it all or you only care about the makeup, or maybe you only care about like the other part of it. And so this way it'll be into two videos. You don't have to sit through a very long, you know, video. So I'm just going to go over the numbers. So the reason why I inventoried everything, let's get into that first. I am going to do a no buy. So from August 2019 till August 2020, and honestly, after taking like the numbers down, I could probably make it longer than a year going on a no buy. So what that means for me is that I will not be purchasing any products. No new releases, no new things until I have completely depleted like what I have on hand. In the sense of like, now, let me see, how do I want to phrase this? So I will only make repurchases in categories when I have gotten that category under control, or like what under control means for me. So just for argument's sake, this is one that I will not be buying from for a long time. I think I have like 32 eyeshadow palettes. We'll get into the real numbers, but either way, I have 32 eyeshadow palettes. That's ridiculous. So until I really get that number down, like I will not purchase any eyeshadow palettes. Or I guess a better example would be like, I think I have like 6 or 7 primers, and so I want to work that down and have like three primers that I absolutely loved, have them on hand, and then like, so once I got down to 2, then I could repurchase one, kind of things like that. But ultimately I deem that this is a no buy because I'm not just like, I'm not on a beauty budget. I'm not, you know, allowing myself to make any purchases except repurchases. So hopefully that kind of makes sense to you the way that I explain that. So I have everything written down here, and we are just going to go over the numbers. If you would be interested in like a detailed collection video with like swatches and comparisons and things like that, let me know in the comments down below and I can make that happen. I just don't know if if that's, you know, something that people would want to see. So right now we're just going to go over the numbers and try to keep this video kind of short. And my other goal is that, so it's August 2019 when I officially finished my inventory. So I definitely want to do a 6-month check-in, which would be February 2020, and then like another one at the end in August 2020, and kind of see how the categories have changed and things like that. So all right, let's just get rolling. I have grouped everything together. So again, this is all makeup related items. So the first category is primers. I have 7 primers. And like I said, that's a little ridiculous to me. So I really just want to get my collection down to 3, where I have just a mattifying primer, a hydrating primer, and a pore filling primer, because my skin does change. Like sometimes I need more hydration, or sometimes I need more of a matte finish, and especially too depending on the foundation. Like if it's more of a matte foundation, I like to pair that with a hydrating primer just to kind of give some of the like glow back almost, so that you don't look so flat. So yeah, that's primers. The next one is BB creams. I have 5 BB creams, you guys. Why? I don't know. So I really think I've found my holy grail BB cream, because the goal would be to just have one. And I am absolutely loving the CoverGirl Clean Matte BB cream. I think I have it in the shade like 510 or something like that. But that one has really done so well, and it's held up in this heat and humidity. So I really think I've already found my holy grail. So I just want to work through those other ones and, you know, clear them out, and then just continue to repurchase the CoverGirl one is how I feel. Next is liquid foundation. So I actually broke my foundation into 2 categories, a liquid and a pressed powder. So first up is the liquid, and again, too, with the liquid foundation category, there is a stick. The Tarte Clay Stick foundation is counted in this, but I have 11 foundations, and there are some where I'm pretty sure I know I won't like them. You know what I mean? Like, I bought them because they were hyped and it was like really talked about and everyone else loved them, and I've really come to find that I need to go in store and like put it on my hand, assess it for myself, and really look at it, and not just go by, you know, some popular YouTuber's opinion. So I have 11 foundations. I think a more appropriate number would be like 4 to 5, because I like to switch between matte and hydrating, and then I like full coverage sometimes, and I like light coverage sometimes. Like, I absolutely love the Jouer High Essential Coverage Foundation. That's great. It's very high coverage too, as the name says. And then I also, like, I love the Tarte Rainforest of the Sea, that more liquid, like, water-based foundation. That's great for when I'm having, like, really good skin days and I can get away with stuff like that. So I do have, like, a variant in, like, taste. So I think 4 to 5 is appropriate. And then when you factor in, like, oh, you might have, like, a summer shade or a winter shade, things like that. So the next category I've written down is color corrector. I only have one color corrector. I have the NYX, like, peach color corrector in the pot for underneath my eyes. So this category is fine. I would honestly be okay with this category expanding to 2, because I could see myself getting like a green color corrector just to help with any redness that I might have on my face. I don't have one now, and I don't plan on going out to buy one, but that would be like something that I would see as okay and not breaking like the no buy rules. The next one is concealer. I have 6 concealers. I think 3 is good. I would like to have a more light concealer, and then like maybe a more natural one, and then maybe one that's like not as heavy. So like the ones that I'm thinking of in my mind is, I really love the Tarte Shape Tape the concealer. I love that as like a lighter shade to kind of help highlight areas, and then just a more natural one just to help conceal any like maybe active breakouts that I'm having. But then I also really loved the Tarte Rainforest of the Sea concealer, and that one was just, it was much lighter coverage than the Shape Tape in my opinion, but some days I like that. Like, it was easy just to throw that one on, put a little bit of pressed powder on top, and then head out the door. So that's why I'm saying 3 concealers. Next is foundation again, but it's the pressed powder version. So all of these are just, you know, like I have like the Laura Geller Baked Foundation, the It Cosmetics Illumination one, things like that. So typically I'll wear them if I've just put on like a little bit of concealer, and then, you know, I'll go over it. But also too, I use them to set my face. So I do them right along the cheek here, and kind of like down my neck and stuff, just so I can help blend things out on top. So I have 9. I don't know if I said that. I have 9 pressed powder foundations. And honestly, I think one or two is enough, because it depends on like the brand and how tightly pressed they are and things like that. Some of them I feel like I've plow through with like no problem, like the CYO pressed matte powder. I can finish that off in like a month. Like the NYX Stay Flat and Not Matte, maybe like 2 months. The It Cosmetics one, I am still working on that one. It's lasted, I think that one's probably lasted the longest out of all the ones that I've like been using. So I think having 2 or 3 on hand would be good and fair, and you know, that way you're just always, you kind of let me just say, this is very like nerve-wracking to talk about this on camera. It's like almost like a vulnerable thing, and I feel like I have to over justify all of my answers, so I'm getting tongue-tied and things like that. Anyway, pressed powder foundations, instead of 9, I think that 3 is much more acceptable, just because I do tend to plow through them a little bit quicker, and I do like to have things on hand. I don't want to constantly be like running out to the store, you know, and having to like replace things. So then I have pressed face powders. So I have two in my collection, and they didn't fit that powder foundation category. It's actually the Essence banana powder, and then their Stay Matte powder. So I just threw them into a category of their own, and I'm fine with that. Fine with the two. Neither one of those are products that I absolutely love, so I probably just honestly wouldn't repurchase them. And then this category, once I finish them up, like this category just wouldn't exist for me anymore. Let's see. The next one is loose face powders. So I like to use loose face powders to set underneath my eyes and then on top of my eyes after I prime them. I have really veiny eyelids, so I try to give them as like much coverage as possible before I actually apply eyeshadow. So I don't use a ton of loose powder. I mean, obviously if you're just focusing right under your eyes and on top of your eyes, and I do around my nose and my smile lines. So one is enough. And the one that I'm currently trying to use up is the Too Faced Born This Way powder, and I absolutely love that one. So unless the other two in my collection are like amazing, I will spend the money on that. That thing has lasted, I want to say I've been consistently using it for like a year, maybe even more, and it's amazing. The next one is bronzer. I think you need to take a seat. I have 12 bronzers. And now those aren't, sorry, I have a nose hair. Okay. So I have 12 bronzers. Those, it like snuck up on me because like I think I have like maybe 6 or 7 single bronzers, and so those are just like chilling in the drawer, and you look at that and you're like, oh, it's not that bad, but then you take into account the face palettes that you have, and that really has offsetted highlighters, blushes, and bronzers for me. So one thing that I want to focus on too with this is I don't have a category of like face palettes, but just a conscientious like purchase decision that I want to make in the future is to not buy face palettes, because they go in like, I'm trying now the way I've organized it to put them in the same spot as like the products that they kind of correspond with. But prior to that, like I had them in like their own separate little storage area, and I would kind of forget that I had them, and then you're not looking at them every day and you're like, oh, this part of my collection's fine, like it's not unruly, and then you do an inventory and it is unruly. So 12 bronzers. I honestly think 3 to 4 is enough, because I like cool tone and like the more warm tone bronzers. So, and I have like my favorite brands, and I have, there's just different ones that have different finishes. And plus, like, I feel like I like to change up my makeup and play around and really like, use different products. So I have like my favorites. So that's why I'm comfortable with having like more than one of like the same thing. So let's just jump down into blush. These are powder blushes, and I have 14. And I think honestly I probably only have like, again, 6 or 7 that are actual singles. The rest of them are in palettes. So that's really what has thrown this number off, is just having those palettes and kind of forgetting about them. So gonna work on that. The next category would be cream blushes, and I have 8. So I have one palette of cream blushes, and then 2 like singles, like a stick, and then I have that ColourPop Super Shock Cheek. I didn't know where to put that because it's not really a powder, but it's not really a cream. I put it with my creams because of the way that I apply it. I apply it like a cream blush. So I have 8. Honestly, I am getting more into cream blushes, but they would expire more quickly than like a powder brush. So I think just having one in my collection is realistic, because it's not something that I use on an everyday basis, but on like lighter coverage days, or if I'm like in a rush and just going out the door quickly, and especially in the summertime, they're great. So I think just having one on hand would be plenty. The next one is highlighter. So highlighters, again, is broken up into 2 categories. I have liquid and then powder. So for liquid highlighters, I have 5. That's just ridiculous to me. I don't need 5. I'm not a liquid highlighter kind of girl. I'm still playing around with the ones in my collection and trying to figure out a way that I like them. Like, I've heard people say, mix it in your primer, mix it in your foundation, and then of course you could just apply it like a standard cream highlighter. So I'm just trying to play around with them, get more comfortable with them, but also just for me, I forget that I have them because I'm just so unused to having cream highlighters. So I am trying to work on that. I think one or two is enough. Like if I absolutely fall in love with cream highlighters through this year, then I think two, or I mean liquid highlighters, same thing. Then I think two would be fine, because then you could have two different shades and, you know, kind of play it up. But if I end up just not loving them, then obviously I would just work through what I have, hopefully, and then just not repurchase it. Or if it's something where I'm like, yeah, it's okay, like I kind of like it for certain things, like maybe I would just have one. But I'm gonna say like right now, like 1 to 2 would be appropriate. So then we go into powder highlighters. And again, I have, not that, I don't feel like I have that many like singles, but it's like I have one straight up like highlighter palette, and then one straight up like you know, then they're just like in a mix of different face palettes. So I have 21 highlighters. That is ridiculous. Like I don't go like super crazy. I know I probably look really glowy today, but usually I don't go like super crazy with the highlighter. So it takes me forever. That Tarte one that was in my Roulette Project Pan, it wasn't even old when I put it into the Project Pan, and I worked on it, wore it every day, every time I wore makeup, from March until like the end of June before I hit pan. And that one wasn't even brand new. So it takes me forever to even just hit pan on a highlighter. So 21 is ridiculous, and I think maybe 5 or 6 is probably a good standard like collection size. Maybe not. Maybe I'll change my mind and actually want to decrease it more, but I think 5 or 6 is a safe bet of what I would love for this category to be at. And I am trying to get more creative with like how I use them. Like I know you can use them as eyeshadow and things like that, and especially like in the summertime, like, you know, you can play it up more if you're wearing a tank top, things like that. So I'm trying to do that in order to help me use them more, but it's not using them just for the sake of like trying to use up more product. Does that make sense? Like I'm applying them and using these things in ways that you would, not ways where it's like, well, if I do it this way, then it just uses more product and then I can get it out of my collection quicker, because then that's just wasteful. Anyway, the next one is brows. So I have 4 brow products, and that's not super big, that's not terrible, but I would love to have 2, 1 pencil and 1 pomade. That's enough, because a lot of times too, I just use eyeshadow in my brows, you know, and I don't get along with my eyebrows. We don't like each other. They're like non-existent. This is all fake. Like maybe one day when we become better friends, I will just show you how pitiful they are, because if you think this is rough, whew, you should see them without all the powder. But anyway, point is that 9 times out of 10 I just use eyeshadow in my eyebrows. So I like the convenience of a pencil to travel, and I am trying to get better about using the pomade to like outline my brow and then go in with the powder. So all I need is a pencil and a pomade. Okay, whew. I guess I should have told you we have 29 makeup categories, and we are on number 15. So the next one is eyeliners. I have 3 eyeliners, and that to me is fine. I don't wear eyeliner every day. I have a nude one for my waterline, a black one, and then like a smoky gray one. That is completely fine. I don't want to grow that, but I do want to use what I have. Mascara. Oh, well, this is kind of surprising. I thought I had more. I have 6 mascaras, which is still ridiculous because I only open 1 at a time, and then I'll use them for like 4 to 6 months, which I know you're probably screaming right now and you're like, you're supposed to stop after 3. You know, it's fine. I've never had an eye infection. It's fine. I use them for 4 to 6 months or until they dry out, and I'm good with that. So ultimately with mascara, I would just like to have 2 on hand, and I am still looking for like my holy grail, oh my god, I love this mascara, hands down. So next is eyeshadow primer. So I have 4 eyeshadow primers. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I just have 4. And so I would really, this just needs to be 1. It needs to be 1. I need to figure out what kind of form of an eyeshadow primer I like best. Like, do I like the like pencil kind of, like I have the NYX Jumbo eye pencil in like milk, so that I've been using as an eye primer. So do I like it in that like more stick form, or do I like something like the Urban Decay Shadow eye primer where it's like more of a liquid? I need to figure that out and get that category down to 1. Then I have eyeshadow in loose pigment form. So I only have 1 in my collection, and it came in a gift set that I was gifted from my friend. So I've been playing with it and using it, and I do enjoy it, but it's kind of almost like an extra step in the makeup process. Like it's a little extra, you know? So the one I have is very pretty, and I will use it and love it, and I'm so appreciative for it. But once it's gone, I probably won't repurchase anything that would fit that category. Next is eyeshadows in a cream base form. So this consists of things like, I have an e.l.f. smudge pot. I think I put my e.l.f. shadow stick in here, to be quite honest. Things like that. They're eyeshadows, but they're in more of like a cream form. So I have 6 of those. If I work through this and get this area down to none, I'm fine having none, because it's just something that I don't reach for often enough to justify owning them, because they are cream based, so they're gonna expire quicker than like a powder product. So then next, category 20 is its own thing. It's the ColourPop Super Shock shadows. They get their own thing because they're kind of different. I don't consider them like singles, because I couldn't depot them and put them in a Z palette. They're not cream, they're like cream to powder, and so they just got their own thing. I have 22. No. I only have this one set of eyes, just these 2 eyeballs. Who can use 22 ColourPop Super Shock shadows up? Now the one good thing is that I did discover my way to like rehydrate them, and that's worked. I've only had one, and it didn't really even dry out. It was just kind of crumbly, like the formula was off. So I'm not worried about them drying out before I can use them. I think that I've got like my way to revive them. But I do think 22 is a little ridiculous. I think 5 is much more substantial and enough. So 5 is what we're going to work towards. Then we have, so this is eyeshadow singles, and so I have some that are like just on their own singles, and some that are in a Z palette. So all together it's 21 single shadows, and I don't tend to reach for the singles. I've moved them to where now I keep them with the ColourPop Super Shock shadows, so that I do lay eyes on them a little more frequently, and hopefully that would be like inspiring to like use them. But not those necessarily that are like the singles in there. It's really the singles that are in my Z palette I want to focus on and try to make sure that they are eyeshadows that I need and that give me variety in my collection, because I just don't reach for that Z palette as much as I should. So we'll see. Hopefully that is a category that we can really make some progress on. Then we have eyeshadow palettes. I have 30 eyeshadow palettes. That's just ridiculous. Again, I only have the one set of eyes. So I really want to go through and take 2018, to make sure that the palettes that are in my collection, I love them, I get great use out of them, and that they're different and varying, and everyone has like a special place. I know that sounds silly, but so for eyeshadow palettes, I honestly think 10 is enough. And yeah, I'm not gonna like go out and declutter 20 palettes. I'm just telling you, like in a perfect ideal world, 20 years from now, maybe I'll only own 10 eyeshadow palettes. The next one is lip balms. We are coming down to the end, I promise. So I have 7 lip balms is way too many. 3 is enough. That way I can keep one in my purse, one in my car, and one in the house. That's it, just 3. Lip liners, I have 4. For someone, if you've seen my Roulette Project Pan video, I have not used lip liner until this year because of that project, because I put a lip liner in. So I have 4. That's ridiculous. I think that I could get that down to 1, because I have discovered a joy of having a lip liner, and I think just having a pinky nude one will suffice. That matches like all the lipsticks in my collection, so one lip liner would be enough. Next is lip glosses. I have 4. And that category, I'm honestly not mad at that. I mean, I do want to work through the 4 that I have, but I think 4 is fine. I'm not upset with that. Then I have liquid lipstick. I don't like liquid lipstick. I don't even know how I have these in my collection. Like, I don't recall buying them. Actually, one was an Ulta birthday gift. I do know that. But anyway, I have 2 liquid lipsticks in my collection, and it's just, I find them too drying. Even if I try to like put a balm over top of them, I don't like the way that they wear off. So I'm going to try to work through these and pan them. And then liquid lipstick is just not something that I would repurchase. Then we have bullet lipsticks. I have 11 bullet lipsticks, and I really need to be mindful to really try to work on specifically 3 of them, because there's 3 that I have from Bite Beauty, and they have all natural ingredients. So I want to make sure that I get those, you know, used up before they go off. But 11 is still ridiculous, especially since I don't wear lipstick on a daily basis. And then even if I do wear it, I forget to take it with me, so I can't even reapply it. So I need to get better about that. But I think 5. I think 5 is a more realistic number for me, especially as someone who just doesn't wear lipstick as often as, like, you know, someone else. Okay, 2 more. 2 more. If you've made it this far, you're a rock star. All right, so we have setting spray. So I have 6 setting sprays. It's just, no, 2 is enough, because there are some where it's, you know, more like hydrating versus more matte, things like that. So I think 2 setting sprays is plenty. And then that brings us to category 29, which technically I should have thrown this in with skincare, but I just wasn't thinking, and so it's in with the makeup. We're just going to keep it in with the makeup. But it's facial sprays, and I do use those in more of a skincare sense. But I have 3. And I think having 1 is enough. I don't like plow through them. I think I use them at like a you know, pretty standard rate, and I typically use them like right after I get out of the shower, just as like a quick like you know, rehydrate thing. So I think 1 in my collection would be more than enough. But that is it. That is all of my makeup broken into categories, written down, and I have like a more detailed overview so that I can keep track of, like, did I use this up and complete it, did I declutter it, and, you know, things like that. That's the other thing that I will say that we will leave this video on. I am not going to declutter just to declutter. If I get rid of something and donate it, or, you know, give it to friends and family, or even throw it away, it's because it's either too expired or it just does not suit me. Because I had a really bad problem of going out and buying things for like my fantasy self, and it just, you know, I've come to realize now like what I like and what I want. So if there is something that I just absolutely cannot make it work for me, then it will leave my collection, because by the end of the year I want to have a collection where it's like, no, I love every single thing that I have, even if it is like in excess. So, but that is the note that I will leave you on. So hopefully the next video that will be posted will be the skin, hair, and body version of this. So if you're interested, keep an eye out for that. And until next time, until next time, I hope that you guys have a good rest of the week. All right, bye.